All right, so how's it going, my Comicchatauthority? Army? We're here today with Matt Bowers, the creator of Memphis. How you doing, Matt?
Good, man. Thank you for having me on. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
man. Thank you for coming on. I know it's been a crazy few days for you.
Yeah, getting over being sick and then house flooded, but it's all good. Like I said earlier, you just muscle through and yeah, grin and bear it. You know? Just too
Yeah.
shall pass. Right?
Roll with the punches, bob and weave, bob and weave.
Exactly, man. Yeah, I started playing football when I was 5 years old, and I learned how to be tough, like at an early age. So yeah, you take the punches and you move on. Like that's it. That's what you gotta do. You know?
So, how long have you been creating comics for?
Oh my god. I mean, I could say since fourth grade, like it's probably the first time I tried to make a comic, and really my character Pigeon is that was the first story. It was that character. Now she looks a lot different now, but pretty much was that character back then. But fast forward, I went to college, I went to art school, the Ringling School of Art and Design in Sarasota, and I went there because instead of like comic book art school, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a comic book artist, because it's a hard field to break into. By the time I graduated, I realized that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make comics, so I started trying to break in from that point. And I don't really want to date it, but it's been a long time. And I've had a lot of like false starts. And I had an editor at Marvel hire me at a con, and before things could get going, he left Marvel, and so like it was like it was just like a complete false start. And this was back in the '90s when it wasn't email and texting, and there was no easy way to keep things going. You know, I was at the door, my foot wasn't in it yet. So there's been a
Right.
lot of things like that, but it's like, I love it so much that I just can't stop doing it. And I've got all these characters in my head that, like I said, Pigeon's back from fourth grade. And I keep notebooks and sketchbooks all around, and I create characters and I come up with a backstory. And so like eventually I had a buddy that him and his girlfriend were creating a fanzine for Sonic Youth, the band Sonic Youth, but they wanted me to do a comic strip for this fanzine. I was like, cool, I'll do a strip. And I originally called it Strange Behavior, but it's all the same characters. China was in it. My character China Monroe was in it. Axel was in it. And so I came up with the concept of I need a book that all my characters can be in it. But it's not an anthology title, but it just sort of has a book that has tons of characters in it, and the stories kind of weave in and out of each other. So it started with that fanzine, and then I just sort of continued on from there, and eventually changed the title to Memphis because I thought it fit better, because it was always going to be set in Memphis. And yeah, I don't know if I don't even remember what your question was. I'm just gonna go off track here. I've been creating comics as long as I can remember. I think that's what you're asking. And yeah, I just keep going. Like things don't always work out how you think they're going to or you want them to. But I've done a lot of indie comic book lettering. I still do that, like all the time. Um, and like I said, I've had just like lots of. I did a graphic novel with the band Cheap Trick that has still not been released, but it was still a cool experience, and I'm proud of it. It'll come out eventually, and that was interesting. And like every time you think, well, maybe I'll just sort of stop doing this, like something new and interesting comes up. So, you know, um, in 2015, Comicsology made it real easy to self-publish digitally. So I started doing that back then, and then a few years later, a local indie company called Bad Dog Comics, they were like, "Hey, we would love to print your books." So that's what we've been doing last several years. Is they print them, they do print versions, I do digital versions on it. Well, and at this point, I'm kind of doing all of my own. Right? I'm still using their logo, but because they're kind of focused on other stuff. But yeah, so like I've got like the first 50 issues plotted out, and it's just at this point, it's a struggle between getting it done when you have a day job, when you got a family and all like that sort of thing. But I love it. So it's like it's a labor of love at this point. If it ever takes off into something else, then that's awesome. If not, I'll just keep slowly putting them out.
That's how I feel about these interviews. Same way. I got
Yeah.
a day job. I love doing it. And every now and then, it just feels grueling and just like, why do I keep doing this? And then you get
Yeah.
that one interesting person or that good conversation or good interview, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna do 100
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, like when my last issue when I got it back from the printer, it's just like that feeling is there's nothing like it. And yeah, it was
Mhm.
really hard to make that issue, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. Yeah, so that you have the hard times and then you have the rewards, and the rewards for when you're making comics is it's great. It's like there's nothing like it. And I just got all these stories in my head, like I've got to go try to get them out.
So
Uh,
what's the elevator pitch for Memphis?
okay, so yeah, so it's basically my take on if there were superheroes in Memphis and supervillains. And like I said, there's basically three main stories that are ongoing in each issue, and they're not connected, but they're all in Memphis, so that every now and then they overlap. So the main character is China Monroe. She's a tough talking bounty hunter slash private investigator. She has electrical powers and green hair, and she'd rather punch you in the face than shoot you with lightning. Like she's she's always ready to fight. And then so she's got her like supporting characters. Anita is her best friend and assistant, and Axel is a crazy looking mad scientist guy that can create anything out of anything. Like in issue 2, he creates a vampire tracer out of an old Game Boy. And then there's Jack Fletcher, who is Axel's best friend, who can make things explode. And then the character Pigeon, which I already talked about, but she's a homeless vigilante that lives downtown Memphis and just super sweet, but she'll kick your ass. If you're a bad guy, like she has a baseball bat with nails in it called Daisy that she will not hesitate to use on you if you're hurting somebody. And then the third ongoing story is the Power Angels, and they are a all-female teenage superhero group. And yeah, they don't like that name either. They think it's sexist, but they were put together by a guy called Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is one of the wealthiest men on the planet. He owns a company called Jones Incorporated, and they put on a show called Battle Quiz. And Battle Quiz is kind of a cross between Jeopardy and like American Gladiators, but with actual superpowered people. And so they were having auditions, and a couple of these characters come to the audition, and he gets the idea of I want to put together this girl group. And so the leader is named Blur. She's a super speedster. She's already on Battle Quiz as a regular. She's super famous already. A couple of the girls that are coming to audition are Lennox, who has telekinetic powers. And she's like super. She's almost like a stereotypical super sexy superhero kind of girl. And then there's the really young Brute, who is a very shy girl, very like a petite, and Lennox befriends her while they're in line. She's super strong and invulnerable. And then there's Mr. Jones's assistant is a robot named Lilith who can shapeshift into anything. She's really cool and interesting looking, I think. And she wants to be famous. She wants to be on the show. He's very mean to her. He won't let her, but she ends up in the group. And then the last member is her name's Figment. She's a shapeshifter. She's a Japanese American who her father is indebted. He's a scientist. Is indebted to Mr. Jones, and so he basically blackmails her into being in the group. And so those are the three sort of ongoing stories that are in every issue. And it's got a lot of like old school feel to it, I think, like 80s sort of new wave indie comics kind of thing. Like that's sort of what I'm going for because I love that stuff, like American Flag and Elementals and Nexus, stuff like that from back in the day.
The
Um,
the purple cover where the characters are white on the front. It reminded me of I think it's Saved by the Bell, the intro, all those swirlies and everything. That's what it reminded me of when I first seen it. I like it. I mean, that's a lot.
That's cool. That's fine. Yeah. I mean, I'm a little older than that, so that's for me. I was already in college when that came out, so like I remember, I remember it vaguely. I never watched Saved by the Bell because I was a little older. But yeah. So like I am going for that whole pop art kind of a feel, and I love that kind of stuff and bright colors and trying to do like a fun book, But there's some serious stuff that goes on in the book. Like I'm not trying to reinvent comics. I'm not one of those people. I'm not trying to deconstruct anything. I'm trying to write and create stories that I would want to read. That's my main goal. And so like I've got a lot of there's some homages to stuff that I loved and when I was a kid. It's, I definitely wear my influences on my sleeve, and I think that's fine. Like that's what you should do. And yeah.
Do you kickstart these books?
I probably need to because everybody else I know that's creating comics, they do it. I haven't done it yet because it's an incredible amount of work. Extra work that time. So I haven't done it, but like I have an issue in the can ready to print, which is the Memphis special, and it's full color, and it's got a lot of cool short stories in it, and it's oversized. And it was supposed to already be out, but the people that were going to finance it reneged on their promises after I created a book for them specifically, and I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of naming them. But anyway, so at this point, I'm kind of that should have already been out, and it's not out, and I might do a Kickstarter. I don't know how. I've never done one. I'm sure it's not. I actually started the process of creating one, and I just ran out of time. It's like I'm doing, my book. I'm doing all the jobs that have to happen for a comic book. So that I had like one more thing on it. It's hard, My wife does help me with dialogue, but beyond that, it's all me. But so I'm reluctant to add another thing to have to do, but I might have to. It's moving forward. But
there's a bunch of cool indie comic groups on Facebook that if you go in there and ask for help, there's some very helpful creators out there that would love to give you some advice or answer any of your questions. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I've got there's a local creator named Gabriel who he does a comic called Stone Ninja, and he's also with Bad Girl. He's always there to help me, give me advice. And like the last years, yeah, Stone Ninja is a pretty cool book, and he's a really talented writer. And he's actually got a new book with his son called Raptor Boy, and it's really a lot of fun. So yeah, he's always very helpful with me. But it's more of like I know I could get the answers to my questions. It's more of like, do I have the time to do it? Like I'm more of like I would rather find a business partner, someone who could do that stuff and bankroll the whole thing and like let's get going and make a bunch of money and get these books out there and build a fan base. But you just don't know what's going to happen next with that kind of stuff. So I'm always open to new ideas and opportunities.
So before this, was you just putting them out digitally?
Yeah, before Bad Dog started, reached out to me and wanted to print them. I was just going to Comicchatauthority, just doing it myself digitally, and I still put them out digitally on Comicchatauthority. But I mean, honestly, it's like it's not. The sales are just not there. They're not. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like that. Especially now that Amazon has kind of tanked it. Like it's so hard to find comics on Amazon that my sales are they're gone. Like they used to be decent. Not really, but like definitely my book sells way better in print form than it ever did digitally. But digital, I love digital comics. Like I read my comics digitally pretty much every day. that's what I prefer at this point. I spent my whole life reading, printing comics. At this point, I like being able to download it and read it on my lunch break wherever I'm at. That I enjoy that. But I now understand that most collectors do not like that, and they want a real comic, and so that's cool, and so I've shifted my focus more to printing them and making sure it looks good in print form. And I want to get to the point where I can put them out on a regular basis and in color. That's like the next tier. So I don't know. That's the goal.
Do you have any Comic Cons or any book signings or anything planned this year?
Yeah. Next weekend, I'm going to be at MonsterCon, which is a new convention in Memphis. It's Saturday and Sunday. It's Tiger Lane near the Liberty Bowl.
Okay.
So that should be fun. Yeah, it should be fun. It's the first time it's being put on by one of the owners of 901 Comics, and they're really good people and good shop. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be a blast. There was a big show last weekend that I missed because I got sick. And that was the Memphis Comic Expo. That kind of stinks that I couldn't go. And then towards the end of the month, I'm actually going to be a guest at Memphis Fantasy and Comic Convention. And that's going to be, the name always trips me up. Anyway, I'm going to be an actual guest, which that's kind of cool. And that's near the Memphis State. So not Memphis State, University of Memphis. It used to be called Memphis State, and I'm stuck on that in my head.
What social medias are you on?
I'm on Instagram as Matt Bowers Memphis, and I'm on Facebook. I have a group under the same title, Matt Bowers Memphis. And I am working on a website that is mattbowersmemphis.com. So I'm trying to keep it real simple, for everybody.
Dead or alive.
Yeah.
Dead or alive, who is your dream team to make a comic book with? Money's not an option. Money's not an option. We're going to
work with it?
Yep.
What about, okay, I will give you my dream team to work on like a Memphis spinoff, because I've got so many characters, right?
Okay.
Give me a second here. Covers would be Adam Hughes. Okay. Oh man, let me think here. This is tough. Yeah, I didn't know you were going to ask me this.
Yeah,
man.
Everybody has this problem at the end. I think I should start telling people.
Well, and I know so many great artists like that have worked for Marvel and DC that are so talented, and it's just hard to narrow it down. Oh man, I don't know. I'll say R.B. Silva. He does a lot of X-Men stuff. His stuff is really cool. I'd love to see him illustrate, like a mini series of one of my characters. That'd be really cool. I would write it. Adam Hughes do the covers. I write it. R.B. Silva does the artwork.
All right.
That's my
I like it. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
No. I mean, there's probably things I'm forgetting, but it's, what can you do? Like you said, it's been a strange week, and we were supposed to do this tomorrow, but I had to change it. So,
now we're doing it today.
Yeah, but I just say, check out my book. Go to Comicchatauthority, look at the previews, and you can contact me through Instagram or Facebook if you want to buy physical copies. You can also contact Centerpoint Comics in Memphis or 901 Comics in Memphis, or the Seller in Bartlett. They all carry the books, and they will ship to you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it, man. And these are my babies. I think here's the thing: I may not be the best writer, penciler, inker, letterer out there, but what I do altogether with my wife is really unique, and I think people should check it out. I think they would really like it, or they might hate it, but it's not going to be boring. It's not boring. So check it out.
I appreciate you taking the time to come talk with me.
Thank you for having me. Like I said, anytime you want to do this again, let me know. Let me know.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comic Chat Authority?
Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal.
Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button.
Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.